Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your June 16th to the 30th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm of this channel, and I thank you very much for doing so. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels. So at our bottom is our root itself. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, and the public self. Let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Four of Swords and the Five of Pentacles at our root. So this is going to be a challenging time for us right off the bat. We're dealing with things from the past, having to accept the way our journey has moved us forward and the twists and the turns that our journey has taken. And also we're dealing with a pauper's mentality, a sense of, I do not get to have wealth in my life. Now, whether that be I don't get to have wealth in the realm of love and friendships and those kind of personal connections because it's wealth or what we value as much as money, or I don't get to have financial security, wealth, and prosperity in my life. That's going to be something that we're dealing with here. Then we have our inner self. We have the Five of Swords, again, challenge, the Emperor, and the Six of Wands. So the Six of Wands is a sense of victory and success. The Emperor is claiming the throne, but the Five of Swords is having to deal with things that we thought were dead and buried. Like, I thought this was over. I thought I didn't have to deal with this again, and yet it's coming up. And that can be very trying for us during this time, especially since we're dealing with a powerful sensitivity at our root. Our emotional self, the Knight of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, right? Moving forward in love with our hearts, we're moving forward. We then have the Seven of Swords coming up. This is a sense of having to deal with trickery, having to deal with lies and hurts and betrayals. This also leads us to gathering up the information that we need, gathering up what we need for ourselves, and then moving forward, leaving some things behind. They're just not necessary. Then we have the Ace of Wands. God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, is handing us a gift of passion, creativity, insight, ideas. We then have the Seven of Wands, which in the public arena, we have to be very mindful not to be fighting every battle, because it's going to be very easy for us. We're going to see an injustice. We're going to see that somebody got something wrong. We're going to want to point it out. This is saying here, just kind of step back, because they're not always going to be big things. If they're big things, of course, say something. But if they're small things, it's looking at things and saying, is that worth my time? Is that worth my energy? Is that worth me giving of myself, again and again and again until there's nothing left? Because it's being so busy with fighting the little battles that won't amount to much, that we don't have energy to stand up for ourselves when it's needed. We don't have the energy to be the passionate, powerful, distinctive people that we are. And it leads us then to the Magician. As above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. And this is a connection to the greater intensity we have to move forward with, the greater magic within ourselves, a sense of grounding, but also looking at the expectations that are around us. We're looking at the gifts that we have, and they might not be the gifts that we wanted. We could sit there and say, well, I want it to be this and I want it to be that. But we're looking at who we are and realizing that there is enough there, that there is power there, even if we have to kind of redirect that power. Let's look at our chakra energy. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Ooh, we have two. We have grounding and we have the inner child. We have the Earth Star Chakra located 6 inches below our feet. We're looking for our grounding energy, and we're looking at the way that we have grounded ourselves. What is it that we are taking in? What is it that we are working towards? What is it that we desire? What is it that we want? What is it that we need? And how is it that we're nurturing ourselves, bringing us power and intensity, focus and vigor for life and what we desire? The Earth Star Chakra is really looking here at the foundation of us. And as we look at the foundation of us, we can see, the soil isn't enriching me. This idea isn't helping me. What I had planted for myself isn't working. Do I get up kind of like an ant and be able to move forward towards something else? Do I as a human being look at the soil that is around me and start to bring new soil, kind of start to bring miracle grow to all of this, start to change things? And it doesn't mean that we have to change where we are. It can be that we change how we're addressing situations or how we're addressing what we desire, want, need, long for. And the inner child with the heart chakra, we need to connect with who we once were. So often we think of our childhood as either a time to forget or a time that was really quite nice, but challenging, or, just a time that was nice and we'd like to go to. With our inner child, we have to look at who we were when the world was small, but also unbelievably big. Our world was small because of the homes that we were raised in, because of the way that we were raised, but also infinite in the fact that it seems overwhelming when you are a child to learn about everything. It doesn't actually all sink in. And so here it's being able to kneel down and say, I see you, I accept you, I listen to you, and I'm here for you, to our inner child. And to be able to connect with that inner child is going to be so astoundingly powerful, because we're going to see hurts and pains that we don't even know that we're still carrying. Things that might seem so silly, like about an ice pop or, a stuffed animal, that we don't even realize we're still holding on in our subconscious mind. And so here, when we're able to connect with that, and yes, it can bring up bigger traumas and bigger hurts and bigger pains and bigger things altogether, but it can also be really small things that have had a tremendous impact on our souls and ourselves. It leads us then to the energy we ought to be mindful of. Capricorn, June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. What is the energy that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? June 16th to the 30th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. The Lovers. Now this is Gemini energy, time frame May 21st to June 20th. This is also passion and power and the sense of things have to be one way and it all has to be towards pleasure. We have the intertwining of people here. We want things to be intertwined. Things can get a bit messy and we'll be very drawn to these people who don't have really good boundaries. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all going to be Geminis or that they'll be Geminis at all. These people just aren't going to have good boundaries. They're going to be people who overshare. They're going to be people who we can get entwined with astoundingly easily because we get pulled into their world. And we just have to be mindful of that, Capricorn, during this time because we're going to not want to be. In the beginning, it might be really fun and really great, but in the long run, we're not going to want to be a part of that mess, which sounds rather blunt, but that's what Spirit is saying. At our root, we have the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is this passionate insight, right? Is this way of stepping back and looking at everything that we've been through, every hardship, every pain, every disappointment, and starting to give ourselves credit. Really saying, wow, there is more to me than I realized. There is power and there is brilliance and there is insight to me that is moving me forward, that is helping me see things in a new light, in a new way, and is freeing me. But the initial having to step back, having to rest, having to take care of ourselves, having to look at things from multifaceted different angles, it doesn't feel like it's going to make things better. It actually feels like, wow, why am I being dragged back into this muck, into this mire, into this hurt, into this pain? And so during this time, we might have a battle with this. There's part of us that really needs to step back, that really needs to connect. And there's another part of us that's the last thing that we want to do. We want to keep on moving forward. We want to keep on, fighting the good fight and going after what we want in life. But if we look back and if we give ourselves honor, that's going to be a game changer. And that's going to be intensely and profoundly powerful. It leads us then to the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is a poverty mentality. Now, it can be that as we look back at really hard times where we were starved in one way or another for either financial security, love, respect, attention, caring, compassion, or we just went hungry. It could literally be a hunger that was in us. And this time is astoundingly hard. Now, if we're living through this time, it is astoundingly hard. Going through this and looking at a bank account that doesn't have enough money in it, looking at relationships that are falling apart, looking at everything is like, oh my goodness, how do I walk forward? How do I stay moving? It's difficult. It really is difficult. With the Five of Pentacles, we have to come to the realization that we are worthy of wealth in the area that we wanted. We are worthy of connection and acceptance and beauty and power and brilliance. We are worthy of all of this. And we can call it forward to us in a way that is profound, in a way that guides us forward, in a way that brings us love and acceptance. But with the Five of Pentacles, this is going to be part of a journey, and it can very well be a soul's journey that takes us to our roots, that takes us to our beginning, in one way or another, where we learned coping mechanisms that might have seemed really great to the child that we were. It seemed like it could fix things, but didn't. That's because the world was small and yet big at the exact same time. And here, we're looking at that at our root during this time frame. And it can make us sensitive, it can make us withdrawn, it can make us a bit angry and frustrated. And then we go to the Five of Swords, which is saying we're dealing with things that we don't want to deal with right at our root. It's right here. And our inner self is saying, how do I not become the person who's fighting all the time? How do I not become afraid of betrayal and just think betrayal is inevitable with this hurt, with this pain, with this hardship that I've been through? How do you open your heart to love again? How do you open yourself to believe that you can be successful when things have been so hard? And the Five of Swords is saying, don't back down. Don't back away. It's going to be difficult, yes. But here's the thing. Everything worth having in life is hard. The things that are really easy, those things aren't usually as powerful as they could be, or maybe as they should be. This is a time where we start to need to face old demons. And it can be people from our past coming forward. It can be a myriad of things. But we can't back down and lose our voice, lose our passion, lose our desire, lose our insight. And that's us here, claiming our throne. It's not being a bully. It's completely different. It's addressing conflict that needs to be addressed. And it's claiming a throne that needs to be claimed. This isn't saying, oh, well, I can just, make everything better. This is my power. This is my right. I take it. This is saying, this is what I desire. I create it. Taking a throne, seizing an opportunity is very different than building it oneself and saying, this is who I am. Like it? Great. Don't like it? Also fine. But this is who I am. My power, my passion, and everything in between. It guides me. It leads me. It becomes a part of me. Aries energy, which is what this card represents, Aries is the god of war. And so the Emperor is this warrior figure. Now, it can be conflict with a father figure that comes up. It can be conflict with the parental side of us, the sacred masculine energy within us. And so we're going to need to look at that openly and honestly and call the power from that sacred masculine side. And it brings us to a place of maturity. It brings us to a place of greater understanding, and it leads us to the Six of Wands. It leads us to be able to celebrate ourselves. It leads us to knowing this is my gift. Because it's not saying I'm better than anybody else, but it's also very much coming to the conclusion that nobody is better than me. And I can move forward in grace and in dignity, in insight and understanding, with power and ferocity. And it brings us to a place of success. It brings us to a place of saying, I have to hold my head up high. Because if I don't, why would anybody else? Why would anybody else build me up if I don't build up myself? It's kind of like having people who are your cheerleaders, and it only lasts for so long if you don't start cheering on yourself. People start thinking, oh yeah, okay, you say you're going to do something, but you're not. And people lose faith relatively quickly. With the Six of Wands, it's passion, it's insight, it's determination, it's power. And it brings us to the heart. And the heart is saying, it's time to be a warrior. It's time to move forward in blessing. It's time to go after what is truly desired. It's time to look at things in a new way, in an open way, in a brilliant way. And to move forward slowly and steadily towards more. More than I imagined, more than I wanted before. And again, this is water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. This energy calls to the heart. And so we're going to see ourselves calling to our hearts at this time. Where do I want to be? How do I want to move forward? What is it that I desire? Why do I have my armor on? Is this because, it's better to be with your armor on than without it and, be attacked and have a defense mechanism? Or is it that I've created too thick an armor, that it's hard to be able to feel, to let the emotions in, to let the heart guide? What is going on here and why? It's a slow and steady move forward. It's a following the path of the emotions and the heart, and knowing that the heart can lead to so much more than what we ever thought it could. But it's also being aware of betrayals, hurts, pains, disappointments, angers, upsets, and everything in between. We move forward, and as we move forward, we're looking backwards. So we're not really moving forward the way that we want to. We're moving forward, but with a I'll show you, or with a I have this all figured out, or with a is this the right thing, and we're looking back. But it makes things more complicated, and it makes things more upsetting. What we need to do is take what we need and look forward and walk forward and say, this is what I want. This is what I desire. I'm leaving some things behind. They don't work for me. They're not going to work for me. I need to move. I need to move to where I feel more comfortable within myself. It can be within a mindset. It can be within, within jobs, within relationships. But here, it's really changing our minds first. And as we start to change the pathways of our minds, we start to see that things change, that things are moving in a very different direction than they were before. And it leads us to the Ace of Wands. God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, giving us a gift of passion, intensity, focus, power. We're able to move forward. And it can be that we're looking back at this gift and saying, how do I take this with me? How do I incorporate this into my life? How do I move forward with its passion, with its fire, with its desire, with what I want, what I long for, and what I desperately need? How does this shine within me, around me? How does this guide me? And how does this lead me? We're looking at the reason we get out of bed in the morning. We're looking at new fire stoked within our lives, new passion guiding us forward, new insight bringing us to a place of more. And it brings us with our heart so easily in a warrior state, or trying to find that balance between trusting our emotional self and trusting our practical self, that it calls forward. And you know what? This makes sense because the full moon, I believe, is on the 24th. Was it? Yes, I believe it is. And that is in Capricorn, and the sun is in Cancer. And so it brings this whole big conflict and affects Capricorn quite intensely, affects you quite intensely. So that's coming through here. So you're going to be feeling the power of this moon way before this moon even starts. And that just makes sense. So we have the water sign energy, the Cancer energy coming in and saying, this is the heart, this is the soul, this is how I want to move forward. But we're having the practicality of Capricorn come forward. But we're also having so many hurts, pains, wounds, disappointments, angers, upsets come forward in a way that we might not know how to be able to handle. And it brings us to the Seven of Wands in the public arena. It brings us to really feeling like, I have to fight. I have to fight. I have to be ready. I have to be defensive. I have to be in this masculine energy all the time. Not saying that masculine energy is always combative, but it has a tendency to be so. Because we're going to be in this more physical fight place. Females tend to fight a little bit more underhandedly, one could say, a little bit more with destroying reputations, right? And that's just proven through study in psychology. And so here we can have both those energies coming forward, the sense of I have to defend myself through the feminine way of character destroying, and through the masculine way of, punching somebody in the nose. So here, that's going to be the energy that we have coming forward, because no one is perfect and no energy doesn't have a darker side to it. So during this time, we have to be very mindful of where we give our energy to and how we're handling things, because it's going to be so easy for us to say, you want to fight? I'll give you a fight. You want to get mad? I'll get madder. You want to, be annoyed? I'll be more annoyed. And we're just going to always take it that one step further, which is going to be draining on us, because we're not even going to understand most of the time why we're amping it up. It's because we're protecting ourselves from hurt and pain. It's because a lot is coming forward, a lot of intensity, a lot of, a lot of pain that has been with us for a very long time is coming forward, and we've had enough. Because we've had enough. And if we look at this time to say, I'm only going to react to what's important. I can't fight every battle. I can't, I just can't keep going this way. But if I step back and I look at what's important, what I need to focus on, what needs to be paid attention to, that changes the game. And that changes me. And it brings us, and it does, it lets us starting to live by the statement of, beware the anger of a kind man. Beware the anger of a kind person, a person who is slow to anger. Because if you get somebody who is slow to angry, that anger lasts a heck of a lot longer than if you have somebody who's angry, who's just always going off. That anger can tend to cool down a bit quicker. Then we have the Magician. As above, so below. As I think it, so it becomes. We have to be very mindful of our thoughts, where we're putting our energy, what it is that we're trying to manifest within our lives. The Magician is calling forward our power, our insight, and our ideas. And the Magician is guiding us to something more than we anticipated, something more than we expected. There's a spark to us in the public arena that's going to be really quite beautiful. People are going to be drawn to it. We're going to be drawn to it. We're going to be seeing us in a very different light, and we're going to be rather inspired. So here, as we're calling upon the blessings, we're calling upon a greatness within us that had once been ignored, or that was very easy to ignore. Now it's not going to be. And it's going to be, how do we rise? How do we rise to our passion and our power? How do we rise in our intensity and our focus? How do we rise to the place that we want to be, the place that we long to be? Because that magic is a part of us. And others can see it. we have to be able to see it within ourselves. And that does mean kind of cooling the temper a bit, not being as passionate or as fiery during this time, and really looking at us and not giving everything a time frame. We tend to think it has to be done in this time, it has to be done in this time. If not, it's never going to be. If not, I'm just going to fail. No, be kinder to yourself. What you are focusing on, Capricorn, is what you are manifesting. And that focus is important. So as you think it, so it becomes. Be very mindful of your thoughts. Because if they're thoughts of blessings, the blessings start to come. But if they're thoughts of anger and frustration, the anger and frustration starts to come. Our subconscious chakra message is angels and masters. This is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above the crown. These are our angels wrapping their wings around us. This is a sense of connection, of blessing, of greater understanding. So here we have power. We have power backing us. And as this power backs us, we start to feel insight. We start to feel like we have a greater connection, because we do. Excuse me. And this connection guides us, leads us. So listen to that little voice inside of your head. It's going to be your angels whispering to you. Our subconscious energy that we have to be mindful of is the King of Pentacles. We have to be mindful of ourselves. We're represented by the Pentacles in the minor arcana. We're represented by the Devil in the major arcana. We can be very focused on goals only. This is that war between Cancer and Capricorn that goes on during this full moon, where we sit there and we think, oh, okay, well, if I'm not being productive, it doesn't count. And yet your heart is saying, but if I'm not connected, it doesn't count. And so here, we need to see and respect that interconnectedness. We also need to be very mindful of people who speak our language of productivity, and who speak our language of, order and having everything all lined up just right. Because we're going to be very drawn to those people, because of course, earth sign energy attracts earth sign energy. But if we become too rigid and we follow people who are too rigid, we're going to lose the magic of this time. So that's going to be very important to understand. It leads us to our subconscious rooted message, which is the Fool. Now it is time for a new adventure. And it's really looking at our hurts and pains of the past, of what has made us up, and saying, no, that doesn't get to be what I take forward now. That doesn't get to be a part of this new adventure, this new me, this passion, this beauty, this insight, this idea, these ideas. The Fool is heading towards something greater. And they just are. It's a sense of jumping. It's a sense of, looking at things differently. It's knowing that, yes, I will fall, and yes, I will fail. And yes, people will think, what the heck are you doing? But in order to succeed in an unconventional way, you have to be able to be an unconventional person. You have to be able to see the bigger vision. And it doesn't mean that it will always work out the way that we thought or the way that we wanted it to. It does mean, though, that we are guided towards something more. And it is exciting. It really is exciting during this time. This is the time of the hero's journey. And remember, every single hero, when they start their journey, is a fool, is laughed at, is mocked. Our subconscious inner self is the 10 of Pentacles. This is prosperity and success and completion and a sense of contentment. This is wealth that lasts for generations. Now, either it's financial wealth or something we value as much as money coming in. But this is wisdom guiding us. This is ancient wisdom bringing us wealth, prosperity, and success. I'm just seeing an inheritance for some, so do be aware of that. There can be an inheritance that comes in, or a sense of old wisdom. It could be that you are listening to something on YouTube, or you're reading something and it's written by somebody who is older, who has the wisdom of investments or whatever, and they start to inspire. And you're like, oh, I could do that. Like, I could do that. And it can be easier than just thinking, oh, I can only do things one way. Our subconscious heart self is the Hierophant. Is we need to be true to ourselves. The Hierophant is the king, it's the Pope in the medieval ages, in the Middle Ages. There we go. And with the Pope coming in, the Pope told emperors and kings what to do. And so here we have that power within our hearts. If we listen to our hearts, the kingdom of heaven opens. If we listen to our hearts and we stay true to ourselves and we stay true to the values that are intrinsic to us, all of a sudden the world starts to open. We start to open. We start to be empowered, emboldened, and we start to move forward in a much greater way than we had imagined. And our hearts are connected to divinity in a very, very real way. Our subconscious public arena is the Ace of Wands. Again, we have the Ace of Wands coming forward in our hearts and now in our public self. This is passion and creativity, insight, ideas. This is saying, I have to act, I have to create, I have to go after it. Use this. It's come up twice. Spirit is saying, you use it or you lose it. Because then it will take another cycle of understanding, of connection, to be able to come to this realization again, to be able to use this energy. All right, Capricorn. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace our past and our present, our dreams and our ambition. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn.